So I'm here with Josh Lambrecht, Brandon High School. So first, congratulations on your induction into the Florida Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
What does that mean to you to be inducted into the Florida Wrestling Hall of Fame?
It's hard. It's hard to describe it. It's just quite the accomplishment. Excited to be a part of this. To join my buddies Franklin Gomez and Eric Hollis and now Brett, and be able to maybe be another notch on the belt for Cozart. It's pretty neat.
Very cool. Very cool. So I want you to take us back in time, right, to the beginning. When did you start wrestling? How'd you start? Who got you into it? And most importantly, what'd you think of wrestling when you first started?
So I grew up on the mat. My dad was a coach. So my brother's 13 months younger than me. So he and I would attend practices with my dad. And those high school guys were our idols growing up. So we played other sports, but from the beginning, wrestling was kind of like the family sport. And so it's remained a part of, through all the way through college. It was kind of the focus of the family. So it started at the very beginning.
What was it like to have a brother so close competing as well?
Yeah, so it's the only thing I know. So it was great because I'm a very competitive person, and my brother had success early, maybe more success than I did. So it was nice to be able to have someone that was working out, alongside me. So he was going through the same grind that I was. But at the same time, I was kind of chasing him in some ways. So
was that beneficial?
I think so. Yeah. He was a hard worker. Like I said, he was placing. He placed in the Illinois Junior High State Tournament when I never did. So he was my best friend. He was my workout partner, and it was ideal. So I think it's the best case scenario for me. Very
cool. Yeah. All right. So if you were to think back of your career, which for the people who are watching the interview that may not know Josh Lambrecht, you grew up on the mat. You wrestled at Brandon High School, a storied program here in the state of Florida. Went to the University of Oklahoma. Have had tons of success all over the place. Is there a most memorable match that you remember going back to?
There are several there, but probably if I had to say the most memorable would probably be my junior year of college, national tournament, wrestling the best that I would ever wrestle. The month leading up to that, I was just kind of on a tear. So I went into that tournament feeling great. Got a big win in the quarterfinals, and then semifinals. I met Damian Hahn, and Damian Hahn is a massive name in wrestling.
It is, yeah.
So for him not to be a national champion, of the guys that were not national champions, he probably had the largest name in the tournament. So that was a massive win. And get that win, which then gave me an opportunity to wrestle in the NCAA finals. So that was a big one.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, you grew up on the mat. Was there a person that you idealized, whether that was an Olympic champion, somebody who was just in the room who was older that you kind of looked up to? You talked about your brother, but was there an idol that you kind of looked up to?
So strangely enough, John Smith was kind of that guy growing up. So my dad wanted to end up at Oklahoma State. He ended up having an injury, cut his career short, but that's kind of where he was looking to head. And while I was in junior high, we received that "How Low Can You Go" videotape, where John Smith is showing his low single legs.
Yeah.
So we wore that tape out. So probably him. I mean, we were also in Iowa, so Gable was huge to us, but probably John Smith.
Yeah, well, that's a person to look up to, definitely.
Yeah.
As you look back, what's a personal attribute that you think you brought to the mat that helped contribute to your success?
So I think like the competitive nature that I had, wrestling was that was like the only thing I had my mind on, my focus on. Going into college, there was really no other. I didn't see anything else in the future but wrestling. Wrestle as long as I can, then get into coaching. So I think that competitive drive to just succeed in the sport, I was able to take the lumps and grow from it I was able to not dwell on some of that as long as maybe others do. It was just move, make the improvements.
Even at a young age, you were able to kind of take the lumps and kind of move forward.
Yeah.
That's a great attribute.
And then I think also physically, I have that long lanky frame. I got long arms, got big hands, and so I think that was a big bonus for my top. Where
you excelled.
So I think that was also a big factor.
Very cool. So who had the greatest influence on you as a wrestler?
So that would probably be my father. He's my hero growing up.
Sure.
So everyone, most people I would think would want to be like their dad. So he had success. He had his own success, and then again to grow up on the mat, see him train these guys up. Get guys their freshman year of high school, turn them into state champions. I would have to say my father, Gary Lambrecht.
Was there anything that your dad did that kind of you just maybe something specific like he did that you kind of like, I want to do that, I want to be like that?
No, him and I are very different people.
Okay.
He's a people person. He shines when he is at the forefront. So no, I just wanted to be my dad. My dad was my hero, and he was all about wrestling. I wanted to make him proud, in the sport that he loved, which quickly became my passion as well. So I just I wanted to please him, and that turned into just my livelihood.
Yeah. So what? Again, we talked about the NCAA as your junior year, but do you have an outstanding memory of your wrestling career? I mean, it doesn't. It could be during that time, but it also could be just something else that you really kind of remember.
Right. So I think wrestling with my brother. We wrestled I think 13 years competitively together.
Yeah.
And then our final tournament was the Florida State tournament my senior year. And him and I both ended up winning the championship. Our team ended up winning. And to be able to do that with our church friends in the audience, my family, our grandparents, the Brandon crowd, just the way that all came together. My plan was to wrestle in college, and I hadn't won a state tournament yet. So that was also a huge relief to have that past me, and so that was really special for me, special for our family.
Yeah, no doubt. Awesome. If you were to think about your career and look back, if you had an opportunity to kind of start over and change something, what would you change?
I wouldn't change much. I'd maybe focus on
and that's fine. That's a great answer.
I'd maybe focus on takedowns a little bit more. But aside from that, no, I don't have any regrets. Maybe there's you get in certain positions in matches you wish you maybe wouldn't have But no,
sure.
There's not much I would change. I was really put in a position to succeed everywhere I went, and so there's not a location that I would have changed. There wouldn't have been a coaching.
So let me ask you this question: if you were to give advice to a younger Josh,
okay,
what piece of advice would you give him?
So earlier I said I didn't dwell on things, but there's also some internalizing and
sure.
So yeah, don't beat yourself up so much. Know that you have a great support group around you, and again, so wrestling was like the only thing I had on my mind. So I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to quit the sport, but there were some low times where I let it kind of mean maybe too much. Lost a lot of sleep on things that maybe in the long run, weren't as big as what they felt at the moment. Very cool.
Last question I have for you is, what would you like people to remember most about Josh Lambrecht as a person, as a wrestler, as however you want to contextualize that?
Right. I hope they remember me as a good teammate. I would like to be known as one of Cozart's guys, or one of Jack Spate's guys, one of Gary Lambrecht's wrestlers. I'd like to be associated with some of those greats that I grew up, learning from.
Very cool. Well, Josh, I want to say congratulations on your induction.
Thank you.
I want to wish you the best of luck in the future.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Josh.
All right, I got a bit of a long read. Good public speakers as well as wrestlers going ahead of me. But, here we go. Good evening. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's a great honor to be here and share this special moment with you. To the Florida Hall of Fame Board of Directors and Managers, I say job well done. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Bob, Trish, Cecilia, and others who have worked countless hours planning and coordinating this event. Early on in this process, we were asked to appoint a liaison, someone willing to take on the bulk of the not-so-fun planning list organizing. Not to my surprise, my sister, Jamie Herman, eagerly accepted that challenge. When I tried to give her an out, she hugged me and told me she would gladly take that off my plate. Thank you, Jamie. I love you. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to my parents for their unwavering dedication to their children, their strong work ethic, and their steadfast belief in God, which have been a constant source of inspiration in my life. My mother, Zoe, a nurse, worked nights so that she could be available during the day for whatever need the family might have. My father, Gary, the preacher and coach, would cut his days short in the wrestling season so that he could pick us up and bring us with him to practice. The family attended church Wednesday nights, twice on Sunday, where both parents played active roles. Saturdays were devoted to sport, extended family, or additional church functions, weddings, funerals, picnics. This routine continued on for 22 years, an incredible testament to their remarkable dedication to God and their family. The Lambros. The Lambros started out wrestling in diapers. Attending high school practice, we would find an open corner and have our fun. At ages 4 and 5, our competitive wrestling careers began, if you could call it that. We grew up playing multiple sports, and in all we fared well. Having Zach at my side gave me the opportunity to at all times have either a teammate or a rival. Much of my success can be attributed to that partnership. 1998 FHSAA state tournament was magical for the Lambrecht family. Zach and I both winning by fall in the finals and sharing that top podium spot with fellow teammate Steven Meraldo. Also, the Eagles took home the team championship, Coach Cozart's 10th. Our 13-year journey together in wrestling ended perfectly, Zach and I. There isn't enough time tonight to mention everyone or give the appropriate praise that many here deserve. I do need to take a few moments to speak on Coach Cozart and the impact he has had on my life. Russ Cozart is the definition of lead by example. I was very fortunate to be on the team while Cozart himself was training to compete and win world titles. There was no questioning what it takes to be a champion for us Eagles. The example was running our practices. He was running with us on the road. He was lifting alongside us. He was eating the right foods. If he wasn't hosting a tournament, he was loading up his van, the Big Blue Nasty, and taking us to the competition. Coach Cozart and Coach Bob Hendrickson, both National Wrestling Hall of Fame coaches, gave their wrestlers every opportunity to succeed, which is all that we could ask for. Also, I must add, walking into enemy territory was always a little less intimidating when you had Bob and Cozart at your side. Now in his 70s, Coach Cozart is still active on the mat, sharing his wisdom and passion for the sport to anyone willing to show up and put in the effort. Russ submitted my name for this occasion. Words can't express the pride I felt when he made me aware of that plan. It's an amazing honor, and I'm thrilled to be joining Franklin Gomez, Eric Hollis, and Brett Gustafson. I know many more Cozart-trained wrestlers will follow. Before moving on from Brandon, I want to say a special thank you to Betsy Ryan, her late husband Norm, and their granddaughter Crystal for always showing up for us. Betsy, those cookies. Do you remember those cookies? Also, Coach Joe Cozart, Tim Thompson, Mike Remy, and Nick Ferrario, the late Pat Ferrario, who would stop by the house on Saturday mornings to pick my father up so that they could spend the day watching wrestling together. Chris Urquhart, Andy Yeager, Tim Nordstrom, Darrell Williams and family, Pat Hendrickson, Linda Richmond Kitko, Mark Church, the Tabor brothers, the Grahalis family, the Junkles, the Brunos, the Glasses. I thank you all for your dedication to the program and impact you've had on my life. My first college stop. I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to wrestle my first 2 college seasons under Mark Lean and Chad Renner at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Chattanooga, what a beautiful place. At that time, UTC dominated the Southern Conference, and a big bonus for me was having Chad Renner as a workout partner and mentor. Chad was an All-American at Oregon State. His 95 team finished second in the NCAAs. Chad recently commented that he averaged 1 takedown a year, wrestling his college teammate and future world champion, Les Gutches. Let me tell you, Les passed that torch to Chad. I was averaging similar numbers against Chad in my time at UTC. Chad and his future wife, Jamie, became family those 2 years. Much of my early college success can be attributed to Coach Chad Renner. If anything prepared me for that OU wrestling room, it was my time with the Beaver. One additional comment on UTC. On a team full of wild characters, our captain, Heath Esslinger, stayed the course. I thank God for Heath's leadership and example at such a crucial time in my life. All right, if you were wrestling in Florida in 96, 97, you knew that Jared Frayer, or Olympian Jared Frayer, as we now refer to him, was the coolest cat around. Do I see you, Heath Esslinger? Thank you for being here, man. Know you were here? All right, let me get back to this. All right, let's go. Jared Frayer, right? The Olympian Jared Frayer. So at that point in my life, I would have traded places with Jared in an instant. The guy was living my dream. Jared was the first guy I saw wear a volleyball knee pad. Next thing you know, everyone was wearing them. Jared made tucking sweatpant bottoms into your socks look fashionable. He was it. As my high school career was coming to a close and I thought of places I'd like to be, Oklahoma was number 1 on that list because the peer I looked up to the most was a Sooner. In high school, I did send a highlight tape to OU. No response. Rightfully so. Years pass, things happen, God's doing things. My dream of wrestling for the Sooners and being teammates with Jared is realized. All is right in the world until that first wrestling practice. I quickly realized that I was a small fish in a very large pond. Where I was used to having one guy in the room that could humble me, I now had 5 or 6. I was wrestling 4-time Oklahoma State champions for a starting spot, and Cale Sanderson and Daniel Cormier, 1 and 2 in the nation, were in my conference. And those matches got ugly. Lots of bonus points for the bad guys. I showed up ready to conquer the world, and within a few months was contemplating walking away from the sport. I'm so thankful for Coach Jack Spades, his leadership at the time, how he navigated coaching Josh the individual that first year in the room. I would often receive tough love from him, and at one point I was told I was off the team. I couldn't return until I came to his office and apologized for my actions. I don't know if you remember that, Coach. Nothing crazy, but it was handled correctly by him, and I learned an important lesson through that situation. At another point, concerned for my mental health, Coach scheduled counseling sessions for me, which was huge. I was not low maintenance in year 1. It took most of the season to right the ship, but in the end, we did it. NCAA All-American. And I will say, that first podium finish it was the worst finish, but it felt the best. Some of you might imagine why. All right. In my 3 years at OU, the Sooners finished 4th, 3rd, and 3rd. Jack's team was recruiting hard. They were also successfully developing that talent. Our assistant coaches were national champion Barry Weldon, NCAA runner-up Rodney Jones, and All-American Derek Del Porto. Of those 3, I spent the most on and off the mat time with Coach Del Porto, who's here with us tonight. The life of the party, quick to dance, sing, or perform a comedy routine at the drop of a hat. More than anyone, Derek taught me to have supreme confidence in myself, in my abilities. When that confidence was finally realized, I found myself amongst the top handful of wrestlers in the weight class. I no longer worried about losing. If you beat me, you earned it. Where UTC had Heath Esslinger, the Sooners had Michael Leitner. Similar to walking into the gym with Coach Bob and Kozart, being affiliated with Michael Leitner just elevated the experience for all of us. I experienced this again a few years later when Tion Ware exploded onto the scene. Masters of their craft, it was more than wrestling, it was art. If you haven't seen the 2001 NCAA final match between Michael Leitner and Iowa's Doug Schwab, you owe it to yourself. 2 Titans battling for that top spot their senior year. I hate that one of them had to lose. After my sophomore year, I had the opportunity to move in with Michael and Matt Ridings. Matt is here tonight. Let's go. Matt was a top 5 ranked wrestler that was selected to compete in the WCA All-Star Classic his senior year. Our duels would start with Matt at 25, Georgia Boy Whit Durden at 33, Leitner at 41, and then Jared Frey at 149. It was a good time to be a Sooner. A few other folks I need to mention from Oklahoma: Mike and Becky, or Mama Leitner, my parents who accepted me as their own. If I was not in Florida for the holiday, I was at their house. Dr. Bob Hines, our team doctor that repaired my labrum 3 separate times. He did all in his power to get me back on the mat. Wayman May, my main workout partner my sophomore year. Wayman drilled with an intensity that I had not experienced before. Working with him daily improved all areas of my wrestling. In wrapping this up, I want to say that God has truly smiled on me. I feel very blessed for the life I've been given. At all stages of my personal life and wrestling career, there were folks in my corner that have my best interest at heart. 11 years ago, I married my best friend, Miss Danielle Ostrowski-Lambert. Our good friends Keith and Kelly Safanko are here with us tonight. Keith officiated that wedding. So Danielle's a wonderful spouse. She complements me perfectly. Where I struggle, she excels, bringing strength and balance to our partnership. We have an 8-year-old son, Zach, who is Kozar trained, part-time. He's also a soccer player, and he's a Pokemon trainer, if you know what that is. Lila, our 6-year-old daughter, is a dancer and singer, and she does hope to possibly join Kozart in his practices in the fall. We'll see if that happens. So, in wrapping up, again, I just want to thank you all for the honor. Grateful for this induction into the Florida Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thank you.